all the ideas from Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Imagine your brain is a computer, and your habits, fears, and beliefs are the programs running on it. What if these programs prevent you from being happy, healthy, or successful? The book explains how to rewrite your internal code and create a new reality. Joe Dispenza is a doctor of chiropractic who, after a severe injury, discovered the power of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, and quantum physics. His book is a blend of science, spirituality, and practical exercises that helps you break free from old habits and start living consciously. After the book's release, Dispenza became one of the leading experts on the topic of consciousness and reality. His research shows that people can influence their DNA through thought, and this is supported by scientific experiments. Chapter 1: Quantum Physics and Your Reality. The world around us is far more flexible than we're used to thinking. Quantum physics proves that at the subatomic level, matter behaves as a wave of possibilities until an observer fixes a specific state. This means that our consciousness actively participates in creating reality. When we change the way we think, we literally change our future. Thoughts and emotions create electromagnetic signals that influence the material world. Negative thoughts form a unique energy field that attracts corresponding events. For example, a person constantly expecting failure unconsciously programs themselves for failure. Their body starts producing stress hormones, and their brain filters information, noticing only confirmations of their fears. The practical application of this idea looks like this. If you catch yourself having pessimistic thoughts, you need to consciously switch to a positive image of the desired future. Instead of "I won't succeed," imagine "I will handle this task" and feel the emotions of success. Over time, such exercises rewire neural connections, changing habitual thought patterns. Chapter 2: Overcoming Your Environment. Our personality is shaped by our surroundings, family, culture, social norms. By the age of 30, most people become a product of their environment, acting according to programs ingrained in childhood. These automatic reactions often hinder growth and change because the brain conserves energy, preferring familiar, albeit ineffective, behavioral patterns. To transcend these limitations, you need to learn to recognize moments when you're operating on autopilot. For instance, someone raised in poverty might continue to be excessively frugal even after their financial situation improves. The observer technique helps break this cycle. You mentally detach from the situation and ask yourself, do I really want this, or am I just repeating a familiar script? It's especially important to analyze emotional reactions. If a colleague gets a promotion and you feel irritation, this could be a consequence of the "I am unworthy of success" program. Awareness of such moments provides the opportunity to consciously choose a different reaction. For example, genuinely celebrate for the other person and use that as motivation for your own growth. Chapter 3: Overcoming Your Body. The body is a recording device that stores all our experiences and traumas. Chronic illnesses, muscle tension, and even posture often reflect deep-seated psychological problems. When we experience stress, corresponding chemicals are released in the body, creating a unique memory at a physical level. Working with the body is an important part of consciousness transformation. A simple technique. When you notice yourself adopting a characteristic posture, for example, slouching when unsure, you need to consciously change your body position. Straighten your shoulders, lift your head. This sends a feedback signal to the brain, changing your emotional state. Another example. Practicing deep breathing helps break a chain of anxious thoughts because the body cannot physically breathe deeply and experience intense stress simultaneously. Special attention is paid to meditative practices, where through body relaxation, a state is achieved in which old programs can be overwritten. For example, by imagining oneself as healthy during meditation, a person gradually changes the biochemical processes in their body. This isn't just visualization. It's creating a new neural network that over time replaces the old program of illness. Chapter 4: Overcoming Time. Most people live either in past grievances or anxieties about the future, missing the present moment. But it is here and now that the point of power lies, where real change is possible. The past is merely memory, The future is a projection, and the present is the only time when we can act. When you catch yourself having thoughts like, I always do that, or I'll never succeed, you need to consciously interrupt that flow and say, that was in the past. Now, I choose a different path. For example, instead of, I always fail interviews, say, I used to be nervous, but now I've prepared and I'm confident. Another powerful tool is creating future memories. You need to visualize a desired event in detail. For example, a successful presentation. Feel the emotions of success and see the surrounding details. The brain perceives such vivid images as real experience, which helps you act more confidently when the situation actually arises. Chapter 5, 3 brains: thinking, doing, being. The human brain can be broadly divided into 3 functional levels. The neocortex thinking is responsible for analysis and imagination. The limbic system, doing, controls emotions. And the cerebellum and brainstem, being, control automatic reactions. Problems arise when these systems are out of sync. For example, when we recognize the harm of a habit, but continue to follow it due to emotional attachment. When you notice a conflict between your mind and emotions, for example, you know you should exercise, but you feel lazy. Try to imagine the end result: a healthy body, energy, a sense of well-being. It's important not just to think about it, but to feel the emotions that will arise when you achieve the goal. This way, you engage all 3 levels of the brain, creating a unified vector for change. Example: a person wants to quit smoking. The neocortex understands the harm of the habit, but the limbic system demands a nicotine dose. Instead of fighting themselves, they imagine themselves as a non-smoker, how easily they breathe, how pleasant their mouth tastes, how proud their loved ones are. Regular practice of such imagery gradually reconfigures the emotional perception of smoking. Chapter 6, breaking the chains of associative memory. Our brain operates on the principle of associations. Certain situations automatically trigger habitual reactions. Upon hearing criticism, we immediately get angry. Upon seeing sweets, we reach for them. These connections have formed over years, but they can be weakened and replaced with new ones. The moment a familiar impulse arises, for example, a craving for a cigarette after coffee, you need to consciously stop and say, this is just an old program. Now I choose differently. Then take a deep breath and imagine an alternative action: drinking a glass of water, doing a few squats. It's important to physically break the habitual chain. Stand up, change your environment. A working example: a woman always ate chocolate when stressed. After learning to recognize the moment the craving arose, she started making herbal tea and doing breathing exercises instead. Within 3 weeks, the old association stress chocolate weakened, giving way to a new one: stress relaxation. Chapter 7, meditation, an introduction to metaphysics. Meditation, in Dispenza's understanding, isn't just relaxation, but active work to reprogram the brain. In a state of deep relaxation, the brain generates theta waves, which makes it particularly receptive to change. At this moment, new beliefs and behavioral patterns can be uploaded. The basic meditation algorithm includes several stages. First, you need to focus on your breath, letting go of extraneous thoughts. Then, visualize the desired change as a vivid image yourself: confident, healthy, successful. It's important not just to see the picture, but to feel the accompanying emotions: joy, pride, gratitude. Finally, mentally thank the universe for granting your wish, as if it has already come true. An example from practice: a man suffering from social anxiety daily imagined himself calmly socializing at a party. He meticulously visualized the setting, felt lightness in his body, and heard his confident voice. After a month of such practices, his anxiety level in real situations decreased by 40%. Chapter 8, change begins with awareness. True change is only possible with full awareness of the present moment. Most people, however, live on autopilot, oblivious to their thoughts or bodily reactions. The first step to transformation is to learn to observe yourself without judgment. Several times a day, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What thoughts are swirling in my head? How is my body reacting? For example, if you find yourself slouching and breathing shallowly during work, you can consciously straighten up and take a few deep breaths. This simple action interrupts the automatic mode and brings you back to the present. A practical example. A woman noticed that every time before a meeting, her heart rate increased and negative thoughts appeared. Once she recognized this pattern, she started preparing in advance, doing breathing exercises and visualizing a successful outcome of the meeting. Over time, her anxious reactions significantly decreased. Chapter 9. Creating a new mind for a new future. Our brain possesses an amazing ability, neuroplasticity, which means the possibility of creating new neural connections at any age. When we consciously change our thoughts and behavior, we literally rewire the structure of our brain. This process requires time and repetition. New neural pathways must strengthen to replace old patterns. The practice of creating a new mind begins with a clear definition of who you want to become. Make a detailed list of the qualities and characteristics of your future self. For example, I react calmly to criticism. I easily find solutions to problems. My body is healthy and full of energy. Then, daily set aside time to live out this image. Imagine how you speak, move, react in various situations as this new version of yourself. An example from practice. A woman who wanted to become more self-confident daily imagined herself calmly and gracefully at meetings, how clearly she expressed her thoughts. She paid attention to details, posture, voice timbre, facial expression. After 3 months, colleagues began to notice changes in her behavior, and she herself felt that she had indeed become more confident. Chapter 10. Finding grace. Grace, in Dispenza's understanding, is a state of unity with the universe, where you feel the flow and lightness of being. In such a state, amazing coincidences happen, unexpected solutions are found, and desires are fulfilled as if by themselves. This can be achieved through the practice of gratitude and letting go of control. Every evening before bed, recall 3 events from your day for which you are genuinely grateful, even if they were small joys. Then, imagine yourself at the center of a glowing sphere and mentally send gratitude to the universe. It's important to do this not mechanically, but truly feeling a state of appreciation. Example, a man experiencing financial difficulties began daily to be grateful for what he had. A roof over his head, food, health. He noticed that after 2 weeks of such practice, his anxiety decreased, and soon an unexpected opportunity for new earnings arose, which he hadn't even considered. Chapter 11. Demonstrating and being in the new state. The final stage of transformation is the embodiment of changes in physical reality. Here, it is important to understand that there may be a time lag between when you start working on yourself and visible results. This is a period of testing, where you need to maintain faith and continue your practices, even if external circumstances haven't changed yet. The method of being in the new state implies that you start behaving as if the desired changes have already occurred. If you are working on self-confidence, speak and move confidently now. If you want to improve your health, act like a healthy person. This does not mean pretending, but rather trying on a new role, giving the universe a signal of your readiness for change. Example, a woman who dreamed of starting her own business began to behave like an entrepreneur even before she left her job. She studied the market, communicated with potential clients, and planned the development of her business. 6 months later, she received an unexpected offer of cooperation that allowed her to make a smooth and safe transition to self-employment. This is such a wonderful book. I've compiled a separate list of all the important theses from this book, along with all the techniques and tools, and created a step-by-step action plan that you can immediately implement in your life. You can get all this in my community, Place of Power. There, you will find a detailed text analysis with similar lists for each book being reviewed. The community has already thoroughly analyzed and made available to you hundreds of world bestsellers with a new analysis released every day. Follow the link in the description and use it.